Hey everyone, welcome to Module 10. This module, we're going to be covering the t-test for 2 independent samples. We're going to start to look at data and how to know when it's appropriate for an independent measures t-hypothesis test. And we're going to look at the different independent measures for the t-stat to test when you're supposed to be using the differences between the 2 populations or between the 2 different condition groups. And we're going to kind of go into that. So I'm going to click into Module 10, go over your learning objectives, and then under your read and review, there's 2 different videos that I have in here. I'm actually going to skip down to the effect size video first. So this video is going to talk about the effect size. So it's going to go over the definition of effect size. It's going to give an example of how to calculate the effect size and kind of when you should be using it. And it also gives you an example of the calculation for the R value. So you can kind of see the R value, and then you will see the Cohen's D as well. And I know that you went over Cohen's D last week. So I like this video because it kind of explains and then it lists the different effect sizes that you can be calculating. And that's going to include the small, the medium, and the large effect size. You can kind of see this on the video. It lists it down here. So you can determine the effect size. And then this is going to be like the same for the R value. So you're going to have an effect for the R, so you can see if it's the same effect is taking place, since they both should have a similar effect that's going on. Now, if we go back to the first video up here, that is going to kind of go over between and within subject designs. So this video gives you kind of a brief definition of what between and within subject designs are, and it's going to be helpful when you're going to be putting together your discussion. Because it kind of will give you some helpful examples when you're going to brainstorm to come up with your own examples for the discussion question. All right, so just make sure that you look over these and then you can go ahead and do your mind tap, and then you can go ahead to your quiz up here. I should say your discussion up here. So when you click on the discussion question, this week you do not have to use an APA source. So you're going to just come up with kind of your own examples and then respond to a student. So for this discussion, I want you to first give an example of a between subjects or independent measures design. And then you're going to explain why this type of design would be best for the example that you come up with. And then you're going to do the same, but I want you to do it for a within subjects or a repeated measures design. All right, so have 2 examples for those. And then you're going to use one of your examples, and then you're going to state a hypothesis that could be used for the study that you suggest. And then you're going to state the null hypothesis, which is again just the opposite of the hypothesis. And then you're going to state what the differences between the hypothesis and the null hypothesis of your suggested study, and when can the null hypothesis be rejected. All right, so you're going to accept the hypothesis if the null hypothesis can be rejected, or you're going to accept the null hypothesis if the hypothesis can be accepted. So remember, it's really just the opposite. So if you're going to prove the hypothesis, then you can reject the null hypothesis and vice versa. All right, so that's going to be, Module 10. Just make sure you get the discussion question done and then the mind tap work, which kind of goes over the same concepts. But that should be it for Module 10, and I will see you guys in Module 11.